Dear students, in this class, let us learn about greenhouse effect and global warming. In cold places, it is a usual practice to grow flowers, vegetables, and fruits in glass covered areas called greenhouses. In a greenhouse, solar radiations pass through the transparent glass and heat up the soil and the plants. Since glass is opaque to infrared radiations, it partly reflects and partly absorbs these radiations. Likewise, about 75% of the solar energy reaching the Earth, mainly as radiations in the visible region, is absorbed by the Earth's surface, which increases its temperature. Carbon dioxide and water vapor, along with methane and ozone in the atmosphere, the so-called greenhouses, absorb most of the IR radiation emitted by the Earth's surface and partly re-emit the absorbed heat back to the Earth's surface. This effect is called greenhouse effect or the natural greenhouse effect. That means the greenhouse effect is the progressive warming of the Earth's surface and atmosphere due to the blanketing effect of carbon dioxide and certain other gases like methane, water vapor, and ozone that absorb and emit infrared radiation. Carbon dioxide is not usually considered as a pollutant because it is a normal component of the air and is directly involved in the give and take relationship between plants and animals. But very large quantities of carbon dioxide are now being introduced into the atmosphere through large scale combustion of fossil fuels in thermal power plants, factories, vehicles, etc. Also, global deforestation is also contributing to an increase in the carbon dioxide content of the atmosphere. Because the trees are essential to maintain a balance in the carbon dioxide level. This large scale increase in the atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration leading to abnormal global warming called enhanced greenhouse effect. Global warming can be defined as the significant increase in the Earth's climatic temperature during a short period of time because of the result of activities of human. Other greenhouse gases responsible for global warming are methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons. So the major greenhouse gases are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, chlorofluorocarbons, etc. Now let us discuss what are the probable consequences of abnormal global warming through enhanced greenhouse effect. The first effect is climatic changes. Persistent greenhouse effect and consequent increase in the temperature of the Earth's surface and atmosphere would bring about drastic changes in the global climate. Some regions of the world will lose up to 30% of the annual rainfall, while some others may experience very high rainfall. The recent occurrence of floods in Kerala is an after effect of global warming. Next is a drop in agricultural production. Climatic changes would obviously affect agricultural production because some regions would become increasingly dry and some others would become increasingly wet. The old agricultural pattern would be upset. Next is a sea level rise. Increase in oceanic temperature may cause the melting of polar ice caps, leading to an abnormal increase in sea levels around the globe. Next is melting of ice in global polar regions. In polar regions, ice may melt and the sea level can rise. That is also a problem of greenhouse effect or global warming. Next is spread of diseases like dengue, malaria, yellow fever, sleeping sickness, etc. because of the increase in the average temperature of Earth. Next is destruction of aquatic organisms. Fish and other aquatic organisms may not be able to withstand the high temperature of waters, so they will perish. Other effect is refugee problems. Climatic changes may result in flood or drought or agriculture loss, and this would force people to move within and between countries, and these people are called refugees now. How to control greenhouse effect? The essential step to control greenhouse effect are the are that burning of fossil fuels must be done judiciously. Use of automobiles must be minimized. Solar energy should be used as an alternative to the fossil fuels. Also, cutting down forests and trees must be minimized. More trees must be planted to increase the green cover. Also, unnecessary burning of dry leaves, wood, etc. must be avoided. Smoking in public places and workplaces should be made illegal. People who are unaware about the enhanced greenhouse effect and global warming must be made aware of the related bad problems of global warming. The control on the input of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere has to be achieved, and a global policy regarding industrialization, deforestation, etc., has to be adopted by the countries of the world. Now let us discuss what is ozone layer depletion. Ozone layer is present in the stratosphere and is also called ozone umbrella or ozone shield because it acts as a protective radiation shield for the living organisms on the earth. The ozone layer absorbs ultraviolet light in the region 220 to 330 nanometer and undergoes decomposition to oxygen. The ozone layer thereby protects the animal and plant life on the earth from severe radiation damage. Since the harmful UV radiations are capable of causing skin cancer in humans, it is good that this protective radiation shield is maintained intact in the atmosphere. Ozone in the stratosphere is formed by the action of UV radiations on dioxygen molecules. So this is dioxygen. When ultraviolet radiations fall on it, it becomes oxygen free radicals, and the oxygen free radicals in the second step combine with the oxygen molecule to form the ozone molecule. That means there is a equilibrium between ozone formation and decomposition of oxygen. Okay, so this is the reactions taking place in the stratosphere. Nowadays, depletion of ozone in the ozone layer has taken place. The adverse effect of ozone layer depletion is by chlorofluorocarbons and nitrogen oxides. A portion of ozone in the protective ozone umbrella has been depleted because of this. A large ozone hole over Antarctica, showing about more than 30% of ozone depletion, was discovered by scientists during 1980s. The depletion was found further increased in the 1990s. The major reason for stratospheric ozone depletion are the non-toxic and non-inflammable substances called chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs, also called freons, which are widely used as refrigerants and aerosol can propellants. They are highly stable and inert, but they slowly diffuse into the stratosphere where they generate chlorine free radicals due to the action of ultraviolet light. So this is chlorofluorocarbon. It generates chlorine free radical which combines with ozone to give chlorine oxide free radical. The chlorine oxide free radical again combines with oxygen atom to give again chlorine free radical. Thus the generation of chlorine free radicals takes on. So the generation of chlorine free radicals continue to cause the breakdown of ozone. Another important agent that causes ozone depletion in the stratosphere is the nitrogen oxides. Nitrogen oxides, as you can see in the slide, nitrogen oxide combines with ozone to give nitric oxide and oxygen gas. The supersonic aircrafts which fly in the stratosphere discharge large quantities of nitric oxide in their exhaust gases directly into the stratosphere. So the major culprit behind ozone layer depletion is CFCs, and strong winds can carry CFCs into the stratosphere where UV radiation breaks them apart, releasing chlorine atoms, and each chlorine atom can attack and break as many as 1 lakh ozone molecules during the time it is in the stratosphere. Now, how to protect our ozone layer? We have to take strict rules for protecting the ozone layer. For this, the use of CFCs has to be stopped. We must buy products that are labeled ozone friendly or CFC free. Substitutes for CFCs should be used. HCFCs are substitutes for CFC. Also, there are HFC also, which are substitute for CFC. What are the next? Let's just discuss what are the impacts of ozone depletion. The serious impact of ozone depletion is exposure to ultraviolet B rays can cause skin cancer. It is estimated that a 1% reduction in ozone may cause as much as 6% increase in skin cancer cases. Exposure to ultraviolet radiation also leads to leukemia and breast cancer. Another effect is that yield of agricultural crops are reduced due to greater exposure to ultraviolet radiation. So there will be a drop in agricultural production and food production. Next effect is the destruction of aquatic organisms. Ozone depletion causes destruction of aquatic organisms as they are not able to withstand the increased exposure to ultraviolet radiation. The next effect is anomalous climatic changes occurring in the world. Ozone depletion can cause serious climatic changes on the earth because the ozone umbrella contributes to great extent towards maintaining the thermal balance on the earth. I already told that for preventing ozone depletion, a substitute for chlorofluorocarbons should be found out, and we have found out such substitutes. One example is HCFC, another example is HFCs. A number of low-cost compounds have been tried out successfully which are not ozone depleters. Hydrofluorocarbons have zero ozone depletion potential or ODP. Hydrofluorocarbons are used as refrigeration and air conditioning in aerosol sprays, as solvents and as foaming agents in the manufacture of foam products. The most common HFC used in air conditioning is a mixture of difluoromethane and pentafluoroethane. But there is a serious drawback to the use of hydrofluorocarbons as they are very potent greenhouse gases, more active than carbon dioxide in producing greenhouse effect. That means hydrofluorocarbons have zero ozone depleting potential but a very high global warming potential or GWP. So we have to find out alternative refrigerants with very low ODP and GWP. Substances such as ammonia, carbon dioxide and hydrocarbons which have minimal impact on the environment are considered as alternative refrigerants. For example, ammonia has ODP and GWP both zero. The high toxicity of ammonia is a disadvantage, but its usage is relatively safe. Fatal accidents from such use can be easily avoided because its leakage can be easily identified by its irritating smell. Another one is carbon dioxide, which is used as a refrigerant in a number of applications, including air conditioning and heat pumps. It is non-toxic and non-inflammable. It has a GWP. GWP means global warming potential. A GWP of 1 and its ODP, ozone depleting potential, is 0. Carbon dioxide has the drawback that it works at a much higher pressure than HFCs. Another refrigerant is hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons like ethane, propane, butane, isobutene can be used in domestic refrigeration as well as commercial refrigeration and air conditioning equipment. But they have the disadvantage that they create environmental issues in the troposphere and they are highly inflammable. But they have the great advantage that they have zero ODP and very low GWP. So as a result, their use in small systems offering safe confinement has a great potential. So these are the alternate refrigeration techniques that we can use uh, instead of CFCs. Okay, thank you.